and at 7 p.m. at the county office in Hamlin. Dr. Butchie Burns, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Burns.
You're welcome.
We have with us Jody Pistori and Dana Snyder participating as board members by calling in. Mr. Wilson is absent tonight. I'm sure he's at the ball game at Guyan Valley where his son's playing. And we're going to expedite the meeting and, pardon me, try to, well, if I get this recording started. Do we have to do this over again? Let me start over. I've called the meeting to order. All right, we have Dana Snyder and Jody Pistori on the telephone participating. We have a quorum for a board meeting. Mr. Wilson is absent, and we're going to try to speak to this meeting as soon as we can to participate in the ball game at Guyan Valley for the county championship junior high. So we have no public comment speakers for tonight. So at this time, I'll ask for approval of the minutes of the September 15th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
And Snyder seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the vote is 4-0. Under administrative items, do we have any discussion? No discussion.
You say move to accept it as presented.
Okay. I'll
Okay,
second it.
Mr. Pistori.
Mr.
Pistori.
And I'll second.
Historian Burns, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The vote's 4-0. At this time, we have finance area, item 5. We have Austin Lucas with us tonight. We have two things: approve the monthly bills and annual financial statement. So, Mr. Lucas, if you'd address the annual financial statement for us.
Yep, I'll try to keep it
And
relatively.
you gentlemen on the phone don't have that in front of you. There's books here for you. We'll collect these and keep them for you here in the office.
Yeah, there's about 40 or 50 pages in that booklet, a lot of information. I'd urge you to take it home, take a look at it in more detail, study it.
Hang on a second. Can you gentlemen hear Austin?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Austin.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hit some high spots here. So, to start with, you've got, it should be in order in your book. So you'll have first couple pages where the table of contents is at. It just goes over the major funds that we upkeep: general current expense fund, special revenue fund, all of our grants, federal, state, local, capital projects fund, which is a fund that we've got set up for Duval construction and athletic facility construction, permanent improvement, which are larger projects such as replacing HVAC or roofs on buildings, school activity fund, which is our funds that flow through the schools, individual schools, federal stimulus and stabilization fund, commonly called COVID or ESSER funds. I'll scroll on down. So you'll have, and it's kind of hard to follow through. I'll just try to kind of talk through some stuff. On tab 2 is the government-wide financial statements, where it discusses our net position, which is our assets and our liabilities. We had a large increase in that this year due to construction projects at various places, purchase of the Lions Club. We sold some assets throughout the year. Our net position increased by $1,020,000. Most of that was a reduction in liabilities due to pension and other post-retirement benefits. To close of the current fiscal year, the board reported governmental fund balances of $17 million, which is an increase of $4 million in comparison with the prior year. Approximately $4.5 million of that is available to spend at the board's discretion. Unreserved fund balance was $4.5 million, which is 13.4% of the total general fund expenditure.
Austin, can I interrupt you for a
Yeah.
second? That 4 million plus you
Yeah.
got at our discretion.
Yeah.
Does that include the money we have set aside for Duval?
Some of it's in a different fund. We've moved some of that money to the Duval Fund, which will be the capital project fund. But when you look at that number, the financing that we did for both projects is ultimately going to come out of that fund over time.
So we really don't have
So-
4.5 million.
So you have it, but
But it's been spoken for.
well, not necessarily. It's not assigned right now. But you got to keep in mind that over the next 12 or so years, we're going to have to pay about $400,000, and we've got a budget for that, so basically what we do is we try to maintain our budget constraints. We try to stay within the realm of where we need to be. We still have to go through personnel season and address all those overages there because that number can take a hit very quickly.
Yeah.
And, while we're in good shape, our net position's good, our fund balance is good, we have to keep in our minds that we didn't jump out on a limb per se, but we did an athletic facility at the high school that, we were set up well to do, but you can't, just like buying a new car or a new house, you can't overextend yourself. So, we have to, absorb Duval and still try to maintain spending constraints and not get, frivolous in our spending.
Where are you
basically.
thinking we're gonna see anything happen at Duval?
I think we'll have an update on that very soon. I talked to Mr. Barnett. I think we're going to try to get Williamson and Shriver back down here. I will say that the bid doesn't take that long to do. So, once they get approval from the SBA, we could have a contract awarded in 2.5 weeks.
Do we have
So,
any idea when SBA will approve that?
I'm not sure.
We've got it on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other question on
Yeah.
that, I'm sorry. This funds that we're talking about, the 4 million plus, our rainy day fund, basically, if the state doesn't send down the reimbursements for payroll, this is what we would cover it with,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that was what we were holding back.
Yeah. I could,
So in
He
other
said-
words, it has to stay in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, we should try to, and it's, you should expect to see it decrease a little bit. Because we're finishing the athletic field, we're starting Duval. It, typically the last 2 to 3 years, it's had an increase of about $1 million, $1.5 million. And also some numbers that are in there are numbers we have to plug in for the budget because we were over formula on the budget by almost $2.5 million. Now, that's a large number, but it doesn't always shake out to hitting that fund balance because things fluctuate throughout the year, they go up and down. And just because you fund the budget for that doesn't mean that it's all going to be spent that year. So it's a really big puzzle that has a lot of pieces that you just monitor and that has to come together in the end.
Repeat Mr. Pastori's question. He said, do we have a drop dead date on the ERSA funds? And when that is, when they have to be liquidated and have put a plan together on if there's any possibility of us spending it on any kind of future projects that we have. I know that, Mr. Pastori, one of the things we are using ERSA funding for is to all of our playgrounds and our heating and air system at Hamlin Pre-K 8. But
But we do have a spending date. We have to have those funds spent and requested by November 15th, 2024.
Okay.
So, and most of it is, so we've spent that money mostly on large projects and personnel. I was discussing with Mr. Barnett today. We've got about $5 million left in that fund. 3 million of it, the 3.5 million of it is going to be to replace the HVAC equipment at Hamlin Pre-K 8, both buildings. $300,000 to $400,000 of that is going to be to upgrade playgrounds throughout the county and make outdoor classrooms. And we're going to have to start replacing some iPads because we don't want to get caught, several more years down the road with all of our iPads being 7 or 8 years out of date and need to replace them all at one time. So I've been working with the tech department while we've still got this funding. We're going to try to next year get a plan together to replace a large portion, if not all of our iPads, so that the tech department can get a plan together to replace so many over the course of the next 4 to 5 years out of our regular state aid funding formula and out of our levy funds. So, we just.
What kind
Yeah.
of money are we looking at to replace those?
We spent about $1 million on them before, back in
Okay.
2019. I'm not sure which ones we get. They're probably $400 or $500 a piece, 600.
Are we gonna do it
Uh,
across the board, or some schools one year, some schools the next year, and do it in?
I'm not sure how we'll do it yet, but if we can get them across the board, we will. If we can't, then, we'll replace a certain percentage of them
Right.
and then.
We'll know what
remainder
we've got
of them
when we,
Next year.
that we
Yeah.
probably ought to be making a firm plan about
Yeah.
that, and what schools, what years.
Yeah. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I don't know if we.
Yeah, I don't think that's an allowable expenditure with that funding,
But tell him we'll double.
but
check.
we'll double check to make sure.
One of the things, just another note here, one of the things that increased our liabilities a year in quite a bit was, we moved from 20 to 24 paychecks. So we allowed employees to get paid over the summer, whereas in the past, they had never been allowed to do that. And
So they have the option also.
they have the option. Quite frankly, that was a pretty large undertaking. I think between Chuck and myself, we're regretting doing it. We'd always been told it was difficult, and it's caused not issues. There's been a lot of bumps in the road since July 1st, adjusting to that 24 pay option, with retirement, regular payroll. But we've got it figured out. And
Did a lot of people
And hopefully,
opt for that?
yeah,
I figured
a very
they would.
large number of our
That's what I
employees, and they have
thought.
been asking at least for 3 years
Yeah.
since I've been here.
Well, it's hard to save back for 2 months.
Is that an option or is that,
It's an option. They
why
can,
don't we just make it mandatory and pay them every 2
No.
weeks? Twice.
I would like to do that. I don't know that we can do that. I would like to also
Do
I would also like to make everybody go on direct deposit, but the government won't let you. State of West Virginia, you can't force employees to do.
But we could maybe send out something to all the school employees and ask if they, what they would like, and do kind of a feel for it,
Yeah.
and if.
Some people are just used to the 20 checks and they budget for it already and they just haven't wanted to change, but
Well,
a
maybe-
large proportion of our employees
Well,
have. went to
we
20.
would know if we do a,
Yeah.
yeah, we would know who might want to do that if we would do.
There's a chart in here, revenues by source, 51% of our revenue comes from state aid, 2% from grants, capital grants and contributions, 26% from operating grants, federal, state, 17% from property taxes. Our expenditures, 60% of our expenditures are instruction. Almost all of our expenditures are wages and supplies related to instructing students. I'm just scrolling.
Did
through
you say
here.
that 17% of our revenue comes from county?
Taxes.
Property taxes.
And I'll have a number for you on what we collected total last year as well here in just a little bit.
I thought that would be higher than that.
Mhm. So the bulk of our money comes from West Virginia State,
State aid.
state aid.
Probably pay. Probably pay. That's
No.
what they, that's the record.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to hurry through here.
Right.
A lot of pages. So we brought in 7.1 million in property taxes in FY 23. 21 million unrestricted state aid, 384,000 in unrestricted investment earnings. So I've pumped our state treasurer, Wake Virginia State Treasury account full of as much money as possible, because when interest rates are high, those type of bonds and T-bill type funds return a lot more than they would any other time. When I got here in 2020, we were getting 3,500, 4,000 a month in interest. Now we're getting 40 to 50,000. So, and we're certainly going to need those funds. So,
Okay.
let me see if I got a couple other things here. If anybody has any questions while I'm scrolling through the document, feel free to ask.
Well, I've just got one big question. Obviously, this takes a lot of time to go through this. My big question is to you as our financial officer. Are you comfortable in our position? where
Yes,
we're at
I'm
financially?
I'm comfortable, very comfortable in the position we're at. I'd like to stay here.
No, I'm not talking about you personally.
No, I would like to stay here on, like,
I'm talking about the budget.
yes, not me. You listened to that different than what I was speaking in.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm comfortable in the board's financial position, and I want it to stay this way. So,
You could ask Bob, David, we're in much, much better shape than many of the counties in West Virginia right now.
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of counties that really added a lot of positions with some of that ESSER funds, and it's
Now they're
really-
having to
it's
take it
really
off their
biting
own.
right now, and we primarily have not did that. We've moved some people there that have been up for reduction before that, previous board or current board decided to keep. We've got a few positions at Mountain State, but we didn't add 10, 15, 20 county positions at that you're gonna get used to having and, have to face getting rid of those.
Do we have to, are we looking this spring in April, March and April, in have we had an enrollment drop and
We've had another enrollment drop. So
about
yes,
how many
it's-
positions are you thinking?
I haven't got to
that-
positions yet, but we will have to,
But not a whole
Positions.
lot, not a huge amount.
we're kind of thin. We're toward the bottom on the service side already. So, we're gonna have to take a harder look at some of our professional stuff as opposed to service stuff, because we still got the same number of schools. Now, if something changes with the schools over the next 2 to 3 years, we might be in a different spot, but if you don't do those tough things and, your superintendents evaluate that stuff, that fund balance will be gone in a year.
Well, I worry about that. I don't want to wait too late till if you could keep us like,
We'll know here in the next couple months, kind
Okay.
of what we're looking at. Yeah, we'll get to
yeah,
certified
I
this
just
time.
don't
We'll get
want
the
to be
second month.
cutting right and left and just cut the
Well, look,
bottom out of our
nobody-
schools.
Nobody likes to cut.
Yeah, but
positions.
it happens
It doesn't
at
matter where
Austin
you're at.
and it happens and we need to,
I haven't
to
met
look
a
at
single
that.
person that their goal is to, reduce a job. So,
Yeah, but when you reduce it substantially, you really rip it out from under our students and our employees and our families. So I'd like to kind of keep an eye about it and let you tell us about that from time to time before we actually get
yeah.
to
And-
February and March.
And you can kind of see it in this report when you take it home and look at it. In fiscal year 2020, we paid $13 million in professional wages. 21, 12.7, 22, 12, current year 12. So it's trending in the right direction. Even with the pay increase, everybody getting last year, 1,200 or 2,000, it kind of stayed flat. So
We're kind of keeping an eye
that told
on.
me that what we done last year and the year before in personnel season had some sort of effect.
Okay,
All right, let me,
Anybody have any other questions?
yeah, I'm pretty much done. So, I just kind of wanted to hit those high points and.
If we have no other questions for Mr. Lucas, we'll entertain a motion in a second to approve. Snyder motions,
And Pistori second.
Pistori seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, 4-0.
I told you I was gonna keep it short. I only talked for 15 minutes. That's a little longer than what I expected, but Mr. Barnett asked me to speak briefly about a vendor we have in the county, American Fidelity, that handles our Section 125 benefits. So we have required all employees to meet with them. We're not going to reprimand people for not meeting with them. You know, they're flexible before work, after work, during work. They have ways you can sign up through an app.
What if they just don't want to? I got 10
Well,
phone
if
calls.
they just don't want to, they're just being difficult for no reason.
Well,
Because
they
it
don't
takes-
to.
They don't have to change anything.
But do they have to do
The
this?
employer is required to explain to all employees the benefits pre and post tax that are available to them. And we didn't do that before.
That's by code.
So if we would have got audited,
Well, they don't know this at the high
they,
school.
it's been sent out, they know about it.
No, Austin, they don't.
It was sent out to multiple times to all administrators, and it explains exactly what it is.
But was it explained to the teachers from the administrators?
There's instructions on there that kind of explain it.
On where?
That was sent to all staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that in a letter or a memo or?
Both, yeah, there
Okay.
was attachments and there was a memo, so, and it honestly benefits, if they would take time to listen, it would benefit them way more than it's gonna benefit the county. Quickly, as an example, everybody's paying healthcare costs, everybody's paying co-pays, everybody's paying deductibles. If they pick a flexible spending plan up, they preload the card. If you want to put $1,000 on it, they preload the card up front every year in January. You can spend it immediately. We do a payroll withholding for that, and it's a tax benefit. So your taxable income is going to be less because you elect to do that benefit, and you're paying for those doctor visits and co-pays after the fact anyway on your net check. Nobody should want to pay for doctor bills on a net check as opposed to a gross check. So it really does childcare. You know, I'm going to pick up something for my daughter. You know, I'm paying $175 a month for her now. I can get that without out of my check, and it's a pre-tax benefit. So I'm going to have $1,500 less in taxable income come December. So, and you know, the people that they're meeting with are salary-based employees. They're not commission-based. They're never going to pressure any of our employees to sign up for any disability plan, any cancer plan. And if they do, I want to know about it.
Are they going, is American Fidelity going to every school?
Every school, yeah.
Are they the only insurance company we've asked to go to every
we
school in
have-
percent?
We have Washington National, I think, is a payroll vendor.
Are they gonna go?
That is going to be up to the principal's discretion.
Well, but that doesn't seem quite fair to let one go to every school.
One's doing compliance-
somebody else not.
One's doing compliance and IRS benefits and one's not.
Well, is there any other? I mean, I just don't want us
The
to
payroll
play
vendors we have,
favoritism.
Aflac, Washington National, and American Fidelity. So you cannot, there's no other way to say this, but you can't let a local State Farm agent try to get into schools because you've got a local Nationwide agent that's been there forever. You've got somebody else that sponsors this. You can't let everybody in your schools. You've got to be a payroll vendor. So that, you know, if you're getting concerns about that, it's just not possible.
Well, you know, we're getting concerns because they're looking at this as favoritism.
Yeah.
And is it?
It's not.
Okay. It
Any other
certainly seems
discussion?
that way.
If not, thank you, Austin. We appreciate you taking your time to do that, putting all this together, and we'll all take a look at it. Brings us to the personnel section. Any discussion?
I had one correction to make.
Okay,
In item number G, leave of absence. Brandy Vance, pre-kindergarten teacher. Her effective date here says August 21 to October 2, 23.
Mhm.
That has been extended
Okay,
to October 23 of 23. So it's been extended a couple of weeks.
okay. All right. Any discussion? If not, I'll have a motion and a second to approve personnel items.
I'll make that motion.
Burns makes the motion.
Second.
Snyder seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 4-0 passes. Brings us to comments and concerns sections. We have Duval update on their comments and concern section.
Austin talked to Mr. Martin today. I talked to him about 3 days ago. And they, they're waiting on the SBA right now to approve the plan so we can put the demo package out to bid. We truly expected the demo package to be in by actually today. But the SBA wanted to hold on it until they could look at everything. So right now it's in the SBA's hands to look at that package.
For the
Once it's there-
demolition.
For the demolition. Once it's there, we advertise for 2 weeks. We do a pre-bid meeting. Then we do a bid opening. If all the planets line up and SBA tells us, gives the go ahead on the demolition, we could actually see it coming down in November.
All right, the big questions, and give any indication
When we
when
start.
they're gonna start up.
Yeah.
And I have-
Anything put out the bids on the construction.
I think that's what they're waiting on, the SBA, and my understanding, Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, from what you talked to Greg, the SBA is waiting on the total package to come in that, albeit we're bidding the demo out separately, they want to see everything together.
From the people who
From
have
the-
to bid
the
for
architects.
doing the school.
Yes.
Well, it'd be nice if we saw some of that too.
Yeah, well, yes,
Well, we've talked to him about coming down here and doing a presentation.
that'd be good.
I'd be interested
Because
in seeing that.
Where, you're hearing it second, third hand from Austin and myself, and then I'd rather him stand there and tell you.
And the parents in that area are very interested. We
Sure.
need to make sure that they know whenever they do, if they do, that they can, the parents can come and hear about what their school's gonna look like. That's very important.
All right, we have any other items of concern? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn until next Tuesday, October the 3rd.
Story.
The story,
Story motions.
and I'll second. Oh,
Burns
Snyder.
second. Snyder, you got beat out on that one. The time is 7:29. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. This meeting is adjourned. Jody, Dana,